share screen. There is a screen.
Wait, it's still loading. Okay. If there's no problem, you can stop sharing and then I will open the conference, okay?
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to parallel session 2 of the 8th International Language and Language Teaching Conference in Room 6. My name is Angie, a 5th semester student of English Language Education Study Program, Sanata Dharma University, as today's moderators in this room. I will be in charge of this parallel session. Before we begin, please let me read the rules. First, each presentation will last for only 15 minutes. Second, in this parallel session, there will be 3 presentations delivered in a row. Third, I will remind via the raise hand icon if you have 5 minutes left, and then I also send the notification in the chat box if you have 2 minutes left. Fourth, we will have a Q&A session after all presentations have been delivered. Fifth, other rules can be found in the program book. I will also inform you that you may write down your questions on the chat box with the format name, _affiliation, _ to whom the question is delivered, and then the question. Later, at the end of all presentations, we will have the Q&A session. Okay, there will be 3 presentations in this room by Miss Cahya Komara, Miss Aida Nur Anissa, Miss Maria Dimitrich NG Pavita, Mr. Muhammad Laudi Armanda, and Miss Lilia Indriani. Without any further ado, let's start with the first presentation entitled The Use of Learning Management System, Moodle, for Teaching Students English Grammar. It will be delivered by Miss Aida Nur Anissa from University of Muhammadiyah Professor Dr. Hamka. Miss Aida, you have 15 minutes. The time is yours.
Okay. Wait. For a moment. Wait. Okay, I want to share screen now. Okay, have done, Miss? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is a honor to be presenter in this international journal, Seminar LLTC 2021. There are collaboration as an author, 2 author first, Tahya Komara, and I'm the second author, Aida Nur Anissa, from English Education Program, Faculty of Teacher and Education from UHAMKA University. This paper, the title is The Use of Learning Management System, the Model for Teaching Student English Grammar. Okay, this is my research has been looking at. The first, there are content in this. The first, introduction, literary review, method, discussion, and conclusion. So, this is in the obligation of Learn from Home, LFH, or School from Home, SFH, finally released and implemented at March 2020 by Indonesian Ministry of Education. The use of online have grown massively and significantly in education sector. LMS platform provided by vendor beside Signicross, Zoom, and Google Meet, and then the COVID pandemic. variable generate extra acceleration of the use of LMS in education matters. They are a platform or example of LMS is Google Classroom, Schoology, Edmodo, and Moodle. This is for the good of online teaching and learning as a response of the emergence of pandemic is situation happen in Indonesia. And then this is according to about learning management system is widely known of software or platform that can encourage technological and pedagogical feature into us online learning atmosphere Kavos 2011 and then according to Kate 2010 the correct feature that accessible learning management system are content creation, communication, assignment, and administration. Both of the student and teacher are hand to interest and entry course material document and about according to Kavos 2019. Now to Kavos 2011. Furthermore, there are easy to the plan other activities such as taking quiz, survey, or segment format in order to know their second and grades. This is the case 2011. And then the model is based on statistical fact that model is the large open source LMS with the total of 289 million users in 243 countries. Besides is claimed as number one or top LMS software used for teaching and learning online in Indonesia. The use percentage is almost 65% compared to other LMS brand used by many lecturer, teacher, and student in Indonesia. This is my question that are does the application of learning management system, the model effect system in the context of teaching card out such as Supasestri and Denise 2010 and then Nikma 2015 and Gundus and Askan 2017. The three which can support and help improve student English. And Denise 2010 focus on student in Thailand. And then Gundus and Askat focus on student in Turkey. There are use model to learn English for all skill and competent. There are Nikma and 2015 focus on school student in Indonesia, the context of reading learning. There are three research have success about LMS. There are Eskandari and Sulaimani, 2016 conducted a trial using the model for 35 students with a focus conditional sentence and material. And the second, there are Botain and Mayas, 2017, who conducted the model trial, take 32 sample of students, and then Punjarian et al. 2017 in their journal take 54 students in Thailand. There are experience improved in grammar score after studying with LMS model. There are in Indonesian context, research examining the use of learning management system in the English grammar area is still relatively few are rare. One of them, by the Tamrin at 2019, relieve the survey finding of participant of 34 school students. There are using model were good and LMS model encourage student and motivation to learn grammar. And this third study was the perfection and did not carry out of trial that could provide comprehensive quantitative data regarding the presence of significant change in learning custom of grammar using the model LMS. There are about the method. And here I put 5 research methodology. There are method, the research applied quantitative with pre-experimental research design that involves simply one experimental class. There are, I take one class, there are 32 students and participant the first semester study general English in communication science study program. The time and location in UHAMKA was between 3 June and 13 July 2020 in UHAMKA campus at South Jakarta. There are about the instrument of the research. There are Franklin et al. 2012 and Creswell 2014 agree that quantitative method with the pre-experimental design are form of testing particular theory by examining one context of the research subject. And the last, there are technique of analyzing data. There are 3 techniques. The first, data frequency distribution analysis. And then pretest data requirement through the Rayleigh force normality test and Fisher homogeneity. And the last and finally, hypothesis testing t-test with the help of SPSS 25. There are about, I take one class, pre-test and post-test, 32 students. There are a score of pre-test, post-test experience class. And then there are, I take the study with OLU, online learning UHAMKA. There are the first about the first we are enter the OLU, and the second there are which biodata. There are we use of the OLU, and we have username and password to enter in the OLU. And then okay, this is class test and symbol t-test, table 4 and 5. Based on the table 4 above, it was obtained that the pre-test variant score of experiment class show that phi which was small than t-test and pre-test. The first, this is about pre-test, how is accepted, and table 5. There are the result of 5 about shows that T observed. The score is 7.2 and 0 was smaller than T table. T table that are 1.70, which was it can be summarized that is reject and H1 is accepted. Okay, these are discussion finding of the research. It was acknowledged that 3 was significant change of or development seen from the average score of 32 students. I take one class. There are 32 students, grammar pre-test and post-test. Because the first we must try in pre-test, and we know the score about the student of 32 there, and then if we know the score, so we must try to post-test of experiment class. This was strong indication that 3 was positive impact about my experience by student after using and learning English grammar about LMS. And then after I get experience, so maybe the writer about me believe that this is because the complete feature or menu of LMS model that afford the student can learn English grammar as good and as face-to-face learning, the different we all about online learning. So different with face-to-face if we are offline. And then there are according about LMS. According to Shinio and Morton, the first principle of online learning platform is user-friendly. And then about Indirim Temun, Kochama, and Gotska, 2004, support this is by stating LMS include model must be designed dynamically, flexible, customizable, and adaptable for the student as the main customer or user. And then, according to Turnbull, Chalk, and Locke, 2020, have agreed that LMS include model, thus which students need to get knowledge and evaluate their achievement. There are get achievement. And then there are conclusions. The value of the T observed is greater than the value of the table, which the last I give the table of 32 students, and how is configurably rejected and the hypothesis is successfully and accepted. Thus, the research conclude from the result of this study that the use of the model learning management system was effective in having a positive and effective impact in improving student learning achieve of English grammar. And the last, that's all about my presentation. Thank you very much for your great attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ms. Aida, for the engaging presentation that let us understand about how effective Moodle for teaching students English grammar. Okay, for the next, is Miss Maria Dimitrich here? Miss Maria Dimitrich? Okay, it seems that Miss Maria is not here without prior notice. So let's jump to the next presentation. Is Mr. Muhammad Laudi Armanda here?
Yes, I'm here, Miss.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we will jump to the next presentation of this parallel entitled Is Learning English Boring with Gamification? It will be delivered by Mr. Muhammad Laudi Armanda from Tidar University. Mr. Muhammad, you have 15 minutes. You may have your time.
All right. Thank you for the time it's given to me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Muhammad Laudi Armanda, and this is my research conduct with my lecturer. Her name is Lilia Indriani. We are from English Department Study Program, Universitas Tidar, Indonesia. Yeah, as you can see, the highlight of our research is gamification. So previously, Mr. Mike Phillip mentioned about this, right? So here I would like to present our research, and the title is Learning English Boring with Gamification. Okay, so this is the preview of the content that I will discuss in our research. Okay, we go to introduction. So we all know that since March 2020, online learning activity has become an option by the Ministry of Education and Culture to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Yeah, this online learning practice is carried by various education levels from elementary school, junior high school, senior high school, and university. There are no longer learning activities in classroom. As a result, many educators are having hard time coping with this drastic change. In online learning in this pandemic era, students will be less active in conveying their aspiration and tough when teaching and learning process. So EFL educators need to be aware of suitable method for this time, increasing motivation and involving students in learning as a foreign language. One of the learning method that focus on increasing student learning motivation is using gamification. Using this method, it's possible for the learner will be attracted by the fun, then reward with knowledge and skill. So the study has many conducted by several research. They found that gamification is powerful method for catalyzing attention because games contribute to engagement for any learning experience. Thus, this study aims to set the lack of student-teacher perception on gamification for bolstering motivation in online language classes. So, what is gamification? The term gamification first appeared in 2002 by Nick Pelly in TED, or Technology Entertainment Design, but it didn't really get popular until 2010. Basically, gamification is using game-based mechanic and play to engage people action and then motivate by promoting learning and problem solving. And that is gamification and education. Gamification education is a learning approach using element in game or video game to motivate students in the learning process and maximize feeling of enjoyment and also engage in an educational environment. And when we talk about education gamification, student behavior is formed through games, rule, and playing experience. More successful learning can occur by taking advantages of motivation in play and applying it. In addition, the important thing in gamification is the element. For the third one is element help differentiate the concept within gamification, which is to differentiate a game for entertain and non-entertain purpose. So there are three elements in gamification that are point, badges, and leaderboard. Each element has different use and purpose, but apart from these three elements, including progress, performance graph, quest, level, avatars, social element, and reward. And so, what is the difference between gamification and game-based learning? So, especially for gamification, as I said before, it's use game element and game design technique in non-game context. It means that gamification is applying the concept of a game to an activity to motivate the users. Gamification learning method usually involve a point in order system, a ranking system, and assignment. Well, for game-based learning is adopting game for educational purpose. In game-based learning environment, user can learn new concept. Their progress in the games depends on their understanding of the information. Also, game-based learning trains three important stimuli such as emotional, intellectual, and also psychomotor. And then when we talk about gamification, so we will find several basic elements in gamification. First is about point. Point is first important element of gamification, that is point. Uh, is simple method in which user will get prize or reward for doing something. And next is badges. For the badges, it can be given as appreciation for an effort of the user, such as reaching a level after playing repeatedly. And next is leaderboard. So it's used to see where they are compared to other based on their score. And next is progress bar. It used to know the progress of the player. And performance graph is to know the player performance. And next is quest. Quests it include the tasks of player which have to fulfill in a game. And next is about level. Level is a part of game and avatar visual of the player or alter ego. And social element, it builds relationship with other player through the game. And the last is reward. So this system to get the reward from point that have been collected. Okay, we go to methodology. So for the method, we use descriptive qualitative, which aim to analyze EFL learners as student-teacher perception about implementation, gamification, and determine the factor of gamification as learning method, whether it can increase motivation EFL learner or not. The technique to get the data source this study is a questionnaire. The questionnaire is used to the questionnaire used this study has been adapted from one of the researchers. They are Khaladzadeh, Solaiman, and Bahtiar Fund, who the research influence of using technology and EFL student motivation, which means the scope is the same as this study. And the Likert scale is used as a measurement scale with the 5 indicators: strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree. For the total participant, there are 32 students, semester 4 class of 2019 in English department study program, Universitas Tidar. The data was obtained from filling out a questionnaire via Google Form with 3 questionnaire and 12 statements. For the question section has aim of obtaining student-teacher background knowledge about the use of gamification. Well, for the statement, there are 2 indicators. The first is statement for EFL learner as student-teacher opinion about applying gamification in language classroom. And the second one is to determine the extent of the benefit of implementation of gamification in language class. So this is the finding and discussion. First one is question section. So question section is to determine student-teacher background knowledge about the concept using gamification as a learning method. As you can see, the table presents the participant result answering the questionnaire question. It can be concluded for the 3 questions that student-teacher at Universitas Tidar have ever used gamification learning method. Mostly, they didn't know the term gamification is, but they are used to use this method in learning English. The second question, so that student teachers mostly use gamification through the website because it's simple, but better than application. For the last question, 87.5% or mean 28 student teachers said that in less than an hour to use this method. It's based on the student teacher needs. And next, we go to the statement section. So for the statement, there are 12 statements. First, I provide 1 until 8. For the number 1, as many as 7 participants strongly agree and 25 participants agree. It can be concluded that the student teacher believe that the gamification method used in language class can increase motivation of EFL learners. However, in number 2, student teacher are still unsure about using this method. This based on the need of each lesson to achieve effective and efficient learning process. Based on number 3, the student teacher also believes that they need technological devices to apply the gamification method in the classroom. And for the number 4, the student teacher are still unsure too about the statement using this method because educator or the AFL learner to be bored or this method is not needed. In statement number 5 and also 6, the majority of student teachers believe that the implementation of gamification method in language class can increase the concentration of EFL learners in learning process. And next is statement number 7 and 8. Most student teachers agree that using gamification method can make EFL learning active because EFL learners enjoy the learning process. Moreover, the competition of a reward is the main thing to increase the activeness and motivation of students to participating in learning. And statement number 9 and 10, the student teacher agree that EFL learner can understand the language better by using this method. So this method is beneficial in improving language skill. The focus gamification approach provides the needs of various training, including collaborative learning. And the last is number 11 and 12. The majority of student teachers agree that using gamification method in language class can encourage EFL learners to learn languages. And this method is not only enjoyable, but also more effective than traditional learning. Overall, the student teacher believe that the gamification method had positive attitude towards using technology in their English class. They believe that if this method to use in language class are best to increase the motivation and concentration of EFL learner. Even so, every implementation of learning method in the classroom must also have a drawback, right? EFL learner also need to adapt to the gamification learning method because this method will collaborative using technology to achieve learning. So teacher must mastering technology well. Besides, the gamification learning method does not always have to be used in every lesson. And students will get bored if they are use the same method. And for the conclusion, based on the result data, there are two factors have considerable influence on the motivation EFL learner by using this method. First, the concept of gamification. The game is the main point. The student will feel more enjoyment and engagement to participate in learning class. And second, in applying this method, some elements have different functions but are very helpful in the teaching and learning process. There are three important elements such as point, badges, and leaderboard. These elements focus on student competition, which means that students will be motivated to learn because they want to get to achievements they want. For positive as a score to accumulate the extent of the activeness, and for the badges is as a form of appreciation, and the last is leaderboard will be used to compare student score or will be like a rank. This study indicates that the gamification learning method is considered an effective and efficient method if applied in this situation. This, this is based on the decreasing level of student motivation. So the teacher must overcome by finding a method solution that is more comfortable and is interesting for students. Gamification can increase the fun while learning at the same time encourage student performance, although This method is the best innovation and has many advantages. Teacher also need to create maximum of this method because teacher must set strategies for adapting to new learning method to be developed effective and efficient learning. Yeah, I think that's all for me. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad, for the entertaining and fulfilling presentation that gives us insight about the usefulness of gamification. Okay, I will ask once again, is Miss Maria Dimitrich already here? Miss Maria Dimitrich? Okay, it seems that she is not here, so this will be the last presentation in this parallel. We're so sorry for the inconvenience, and now we will jump to the questions and answer session. I will invite only 3 questions, one participant's one question. You may use the raise your hand feature on Zoom and then type your question on the chat box. Don't forget to mention your name, underscore affiliation, underscore to whom the question is addressed, and then the question. It seems like there are already 2 questions. Let's see from the first one. From Miss Anggun to Miss Aida. Most of teachers are already used LMS for facilitating students in study. Related to English grammar, how do we know the students' abilities improve by accessing the Moodle? Or is there any activities that support or improve their skill? Thank you. Miss Aida, you can answer this question, please.
Okay, Miss, thank you about the question.
Oh, banyak tiba-tiba.
The first question, right? Okay. Okay, the question is about benefit the student more in learning grammar. From Miss Rahma, SMA 1 Pundong.
No, sorry, Miss.
Okay.
From Miss Anggun.
Oh, Miss Anggun.
The first question.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. The support of improve their skill. Okay. The question there are. Is it my answer is from Mr. or Mrs. Miss? There are
Miss Anggun.
Anggun, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Miss Anggun. Children ability by using the model is by testing the material first at the beginning before we are the material start material. After that, we know the result and try at the last meeting. And the last meeting of the 8th meeting, we are take 8 meeting. The first is it pre-test and the last then post-test. And then we get the result and we compare the improvement of each student in the pre-test and post-test. That's right. Miss Anggun have done for the answer.
Miss Anggun, does it already answer your question?
Okay, so the first one we have like pre-test, right? After that, we compare it using the post-test one. And then
Yes.
how about the activities that the students or teachers can provide activities to support them maybe? Or is there any activities?
Sorry, Miss Anggun, your voice is small.
Okay, so for pre-test and post-test, yeah. My question is, Is there any specific activities that can improve their skill, especially for English grammar?
Yes, Miss. There are have can make improve the skill. We know the student can improve the skill before we must try post test and pre-test. After that, the student can make improve student abilities, and then all of the student can make the can make the can make get the plus skill, because we must try, and we after try the material in the LMS that right facilitate student in the study, and maybe uh, we know about relate to English grammar. We try and post test and pre-test. So we can make a game in this pre-test and post test, can make get mood, get the student can make happy, and the first and before we use the LMS model, because if we offline school in the class, is it offline, and we try to use LMS to be offline, all of the student cannot understand about that try, but all of students can support and improve the skill from pre-test and post-test. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Miss Aida.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, so the next question is from Mr. Fauzul to Mr. Muhammad. Since your research is about gamification, would you like to explain more about gamification in online learning and how to engage the students in learning process, maybe with a brief example? Mr. Muhammad, the time is yours.
All right, thank you for the question. But there is some question, I think, like the example of gamification. So I will combine the answer together as the question relates the example of implementation gamification. This simplify gamification is using the concept of game in learning. The game I emphasize this concept is the game like a digital game, like for example, maybe some of you have know about this, like Kahoot, quizzes, and some kind like this platform. It can be used in like concept gamification. And for honestly, my research has not doing like applying how to apply gamification, because we just want to know the concept of this method, if used in language class can be considered positively or not. Can this can answer your question?
Hello, does it already answer your question? Mr. Fauzul.
Okay, thank you, Miss Angie and
Oh, Miss Fauzul, sorry.
no problem. It's okay. Okay, thank you very much for your answer.
Okay.
No problem.
So let's jump to this next question from Miss Rahma to Miss Aida. Thank you for your nice presentation. I'm sorry if I missed, but how did Moodle benefit the students more in learning grammar? Miss Aida, the time is yours.
Okay, this is the answer from Miss Rahma. The model LMS is it be effective and efficient in supporting and facilitation student English learning grammar, since it is like something organic and stimulation for students. And then about LMS and model was effective in having a positive and effective impact on improving student learning, achievement of English grammar. That's about the answer, Miss Rahma.
Okay, thank you so much for answering. Actually, is there any part in the Moodle that can improve the students' grammar?
What?
Is there any part in the Moodle that can help the student to improve their grammar?
Yes, there are.
Yeah, what are they?
About wait. With your condition about English grammar. Wait.
Pardon? So is there any feature in the Moodle that can help the students to learn grammar easily, something like that?
In my presentation, there's not about the feature that improve support and improve their skill. Wait, sorry. In my presentation, there's no the table, Miss Rahma, sorry. But about we know the student can more in learning grammar from pre-test and post-test only.
Okay.
And benefit that's from post-test and pre-test. We know the student can study about English learning or no.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the question and answer. Next, from Miss Vina. Hello, Mas Muhammad Laudi. Would you like to share what are the examples of the gamification that being used in your research? I really want to know. Thank you. Mr. Muhammad, you can answer it.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Maybe I have explained this before, right? Like using Kahoot or quizzes. So basically, education there is 3 points, right? The first is point to get the point for the student, and then pages to appreciate the student, and also leaderboard from the rank. Just like in class, but more fun, I think. Like using Minecraft, I think is in IPB using Minecraft, yeah, like this.
Okay, Miss Vina, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Laudi.
Okay, next is also for Mr. Muhammad Laudi. From Mr. Michael Enrico, it's a bit too long. Would you mind to deliver your question directly, Mr. Michael Enrico?
All right.
Okay.
Maybe I will tell the questions. Maybe some of the classroom activities in the language learning, it might be some of them. There are passive class. You know what now? They have just to learn with the focus on the material. So maybe some of the teacher are really difficult. Some of teachers are really difficult to use gamifications. The question is it really effective when we use the gamification to the students who are passive, maybe? Because it's from some of my experience in the PLP before that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the question. Actually, we cannot assume that method can be said good or not, right? Because as a teacher, we have to adapt to condition and environment of each school. And if we apply gamification or not reachable place, it will be difficult because basically gamification is learning using digital. So unfortunately, I cannot answer your question. I didn't go deep into those things. I hope your question be my future research.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lodi.
Thank you, Mr. Michael and Mr. Muhammad Laudi. Now we will answer the last question from Elshada CP to Mr. Laudi again. How you encourage students to participate and engage in the learning activity using gamification? As I know there will be some or most students are shy or choose to be passive. How you encourage them to be active? Thank you. Okay, Mr. Muhammad.
This is also to be my homework. So maybe we can using gamification based on the the teacher competence first, because the teacher can set the strategies well or not. If or not, the student will not like didn't are not active actually. So so this is just simple answer. Sorry.
Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. I think this is the last question. Thank you for all the amazing discussion, and this is the end of parallel session 2. The operator will share the link of the exit ticket on the chat box. Please fill it before you leave this meeting. Before we close this parallel session, let us take picture together. For the participant who haven't turned on the camera, please turn it on so that I can see your handsome and beautiful faces. I will wait for the participants to turn on the camera. Okay, hi. Okay, it's okay, Mr. Minika. Okay, I think that's all. Operator, can you help me to take the picture? Okay, I think there's a problem. Let me just take the picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait, let me save it. Okay, thank you everyone. Just fill the exit ticket. See you again tomorrow on the second day of the conference. We'll have 3 keynote speeches from Dr. Willy Renandia, Dr. Jane Lemmers, and Dr. Kosa Kastuandani. That's all from me. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Miss
Thank
Angie.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Don't forget to fill the exit ticket, guys.